You are joining the Titanic Lie series.
Film A Night to Remember is the finest screen version of the tragedy. And somehow the Titanic and the cinema were made for each other.
Somehow, Titanic and the cinema were made for each other. And supposedly a survivor of Titanic makes a movie 1 month after the so-called disaster. The movie is out, and supposedly the actor wore the same clothing as when she was rescued. She was an actor on Titanic, survives a great trauma, and then immediately makes a movie within a month. It's out. It's unbelievable. You know why it's unbelievable? Because they made the movie long in advance. There was no Titanic. It's a Titanic lie, Titanic hoax. The Titanic and the cinema were made for each other. That's right. Because the Titanic and the music industry were made for each other. The Titanic and hoax relief funds were made for each other. The Titanic and newspapers, like a noose around your neck, were made for each other. The Titanic and magazines were made for each other. The Titanic and souvenir paintings were made for each other. The Titanic and souvenir dishes were made for each other. Well, you get the idea.
The spectacular bigness of the whole venture, the blend of classes and characters aboard her, the epitome of elegance and style in design, engineering and lifestyle, and yet the fatal flaws in the design that could not save the so-called unsinkable ship from sinking, and in human judgment to negotiate an ice field at full speed, and to evacuate the liner more effectively with the time given to do it. The ship within sight that didn't come to the rescue. The many human stories of courage, heroism, and despair. It was a microcosm of society and the end of an era. And it was a story made for the movies.
Was a story made for the movies. They're telling you it was made up. Just like there are script writers that write scripts. And those scripts are used to create a movie that you go to the movie theater to watch. Now I know today's world many people don't go to the movie theater anymore. But at one time that was the only place to go and see a movie, was a movie theater. And so they wrote scripts of pretend things so people would go and watch them in the movie theater. What do you think the Titanic is? I just told you. Now another lie is they say the largest liner of her day. Well, the Olympic was identical. Now they never mention that because the Olympic is the Titanic. In other words, the Titanic is a phantom. But anything you see in terms of newsreels is really the Olympic. I'm going to do a video on that too and show it to you.
The only genuine film which exists of the great ship consists of two brief shots taken on February the 17th, 1912, as she entered the Thompson graving dock next to Harland and Wolff's yard in Belfast.
Okay, now, what you're really looking at is the Olympic. I've done some videos on this. The Olympic was out and about, supposedly had a collision, was to Southampton, and came back to Belfast. It's back in Belfast when the so-called Titanic is going to be launched into the water for the first time. So they're admitting the only thing you really see of an actual footage they're selling you is just this brief thing they're showing you in 1912. And I'm telling you that anything you see that they tell you is the Titanic is really the Olympic. So they're telling you there's just nothing else in actual footage except this. And it's taken at a time when the Olympic is actually back where the Titanic is.
Within days of the sinking, newsreels were being shown, put together from existing footage of the Titanic's sister ship, Olympic, filmed on her maiden arrival in New York.
So now they're starting that sister ship crap. That's to distract you, so you don't understand. There never was a Titanic. Anything that you see related to Titanic is really the Olympic. And they dismiss it and they say, oh, her sister ship is, the sister ship is just off and about. Okay? Now they're going to show you, quote, footage of E.J. Smith, captain, and they're going to tell you it's taken from the Titanic in the newsreels, but it's false. They will admit in the documentary. It's E.J. Smith or whatever actor, whoever that is, dancing around in whites on the Olympic. Not the Titanic, but they sell it as the Titanic. So they're admitting to it. If you're really listening, you'll understand exactly what I've been saying in my videos. The Titanic never existed at all, period. And the only thing that existed was the Olympic. So you're going to see Captain E.J. Smith sort of waltzing around on the deck, but they'll admit it's the Olympic, not the Titanic.
1911, and here doubling for the Titanic. This is one surviving newsreel. Captain Smith walks about the deck dressed in summer whites. On this and many other shots, identifying notices and tugboat names have been obliterated by hand on the negative, to hide the fact that this is the Olympic the previous summer.
So they are taking this footage and put it in newsreels across the land and telling everybody, here's Captain Smith on the Titanic. But it was false. He was on the Olympic, but they were selling it as the Titanic. Well, anyhow, this concludes the video. Thank you for watching.